Have you ever felt like your past is following you everywhere you go? Like no matter how hard you try to move on, some memories just won't stop whispering in your mind, reminding you of the moments you wish you could erase? Maybe it's a mistake that changed everything. Maybe it's the words you said, or the ones you didn't. Or maybe it's the pain someone caused you that you still carry deep inside. You wake up every day trying to start fresh, but somehow the past always finds a way back in. It's like a shadow that never leaves, a heavy backpack filled with old memories, regrets and heartbreaks, and you're still carrying it through every step of your life. But here's the truth most people never realize. You can't walk freely toward your future while you're dragging the weight of your past behind you. You can't reach the light if you're still holding on to what broke you in the dark. And that's exactly what this journey is about. Learning how to finally let go of what's already gone, so you can build the life that's waiting ahead. Stay with me till the end of this video, because if you truly listen, if you let these words sink into your heart, by the time we finish, you'll start to see that the power to set yourself free has always been inside you. We humans are emotional creatures. We don't just live life, we feel it. Every memory leaves a mark, every moment shapes us, and sometimes those marks turn into scars we can't stop touching. The brain has a strange way of replaying pain. It keeps showing us the same scenes again and again, as if by watching them enough times, we might change the ending. But we can't. Psychology tells us something powerful. Our minds are wired to seek closure, to find meaning. That's why we keep revisiting the past. We're searching for answers to questions that may never be answered. Why did this happen? Could I have done something different? Why wasn't I enough? But what we don't realize is that by living in those memories, we keep reopening the wounds we're meant to heal. Every time you relive that regret, that betrayal, that failure, you give it new life. You let it hurt you again. And the worst part? It becomes normal. The pain starts to feel familiar, almost safe. You start to believe that it's just a part of who you are. That the guilt, the sadness, the resentment, they belong to you now. But listen closely. They don't. You are not your past. You are not your mistakes. You are not the pain you went through. What happened, happened. It cannot be undone, but it can be understood. It can be transformed. And most importantly, it can be released. So let me ask you something powerful. What are you still holding on to that's holding you back? Is it the regret of something you did wrong? The heartbreak of someone who left? The shame of not being who you wanted to be? Or maybe it's the anger at someone who hurt you when you needed them most. Whatever it is, it's time to see it for what it really is, a weight you no longer need to carry. The past only has power when you give it your attention. The more you feed it, the stronger it grows. The more you replay it, the more it controls your future. But the moment you stop feeding it, the moment you stop giving it your energy, it begins to fade, and in that quiet space, something new begins to grow. Peace. People often think letting go means forgetting, but it doesn't. Letting go means accepting that the past cannot change. It means you've learned what you needed to learn, and now it's time to move forward with that wisdom. The pain was real. The loss was real, but so is your strength. So is your power to rise again, because deep down you already know you're meant for more than the stories that broke you. You're meant to grow from them. You're meant to take that pain and turn it into purpose. You've survived things that once felt impossible, and that means you already have what it takes to rebuild your life, stronger, wiser, freer. So as you listen today, remind yourself, this is not just another motivational talk. This is a conversation with your soul, because the moment you stop living in your past, the moment you decide to release what's been holding you down, you'll feel something powerful. You'll feel light. You'll feel alive. And you'll realize that every single day you spend in the present is one step closer to the future you were born to create. So don't leave yet, because what comes next will show you how to take that first real step toward freedom, how to release what's behind you and finally step into what's waiting ahead. Your past may have shaped you, but your future, that's in your hands. Have you ever noticed how your mind keeps returning to the same moment over and over again, the one you wish had turned out differently? It's like a broken record that won't stop replaying. You think about what you could have said, what you could have done, how you could have changed the ending. Deep down, you hope that if you think about it enough, maybe it will somehow make sense. Maybe it will stop hurting. Maybe it will feel different this time. But here's the truth. It never does. No matter how many times you replay that memory, the ending never changes. The past doesn't bend to your wishes, and yet you keep trying to control it because your mind hates uncertainty. The human brain is wired to find meaning in pain. It wants closure, it wants clarity, it wants control. That's why you keep holding on. Not because you enjoy the pain, but because a part of you believes that if you can understand why it happened, maybe you can finally make peace with it. But that's the illusion of control. You can't rewrite what has already been written. The past is not clay you can reshape. It's a lesson, a moment frozen in time. And your power doesn't lie in changing it, but in choosing what you do with it now. When you try to control what's gone, you become trapped in an endless loop. You start living in what-ifs. What if I hadn't made that mistake? What if I had spoken up? What if I had left sooner? What if I had tried harder? Every what-if is a cage. Every replay steals another piece of your peace. Because while your mind lives in yesterday, your life keeps moving forward. Without you. And the hardest part is, you don't even notice how much it's costing you. You wake up tired. You feel heavy for no reason. You start doubting yourself. You lose your spark, your drive, your hope. All because your energy is stuck in a time that doesn't exist anymore. You can't change the past, but the past can change you, if you let it. Not through control, but through acceptance. Acceptance doesn't mean you approve of what happened. It doesn't mean you're okay with it. It simply means you've decided to stop fighting reality. Because every time you fight reality, you lose. Every single time. You can't control the storm, but you can control how you stand in the rain. You can't control the words that were said, the people who left, the mistakes that were made, but you can control what they mean to you now. You can turn your pain into wisdom. You can turn your regrets into growth, and that's where your power begins, not in rewriting the past, but in reclaiming your present. Think about this. The more you try to control what's already happened, the less control you have over what's happening right now. You become stuck in emotional quicksand. The more you struggle, the deeper you sink. The truth is, control is a form of fear. You hold on because you're afraid to let go. You're afraid that if you stop thinking about it, it means it didn't matter. You're afraid that if you move on, it means you've lost. But letting go doesn't mean losing. It means choosing peace over pain. Letting go means saying, "This hurt me, but it doesn't define me." It means saying, "I can't change the past, but I can change what it does to me." That's not weakness. That's strength. That's maturity. That's freedom. Sometimes control disguises itself as strength. You tell yourself, "I'm not giving up. I'm just trying to understand." But deep down, it's not understanding you're searching for. It's relief. You just want to stop hurting. You just want peace. And peace doesn't come from holding tighter. It comes from surrender. It comes from realizing that life doesn't always give explanations. Sometimes it just gives experiences. Some people will never say sorry. Some endings will never make sense. Some moments will always hurt when you think about them, but you can still choose to stop letting them run your life. You can still choose to close that chapter and move forward with your story. There's a powerful moment that happens when you stop asking why and start asking what now. What now shifts your focus. It brings your power back to this moment, the only place where change can actually happen. You can't fix what's behind you, but you can build what's ahead of you. You can't change how it ended, but you can decide what that ending means for your next beginning. This is where control becomes freedom, not by changing the past, but by changing your relationship with it. The past is gone. The people who hurt you, the chances you missed, the mistakes you made, they are memories, not destinations. You can visit them, but you don't have to live there. You owe yourself something greater than reliving the same pain. You owe yourself peace. You owe yourself a chance to breathe, to rebuild, to rediscover the person you were always meant to be before life tried to break you. And the moment you stop trying to control what's unchangeable, you'll feel something powerful. Relief. Because for the first time in a long time, you'll realize that you don't need to fix the past to create your future. You just need to let it rest. You are not trapped where you were. You are exactly where you need to be. At the edge of something new, something better, something free. Have you ever wondered why it's so hard to let go, even when you know it's hurting you? You tell yourself you've moved on, but one memory, one song, One familiar smell can pull you right back into the moment you tried to escape. It's like your heart understands it's time to heal, but your mind keeps pulling you into the same pain, again and again. That's not weakness. That's human psychology. The mind doesn't just store memories, it stores emotions. And when something powerful happens, whether it's love, betrayal, or failure, your brain records not only the event, but how it felt. Every time you think about it, your body reacts as if it's happening all over again. That's the emotional trap. Your mind keeps replaying old pain, hoping to change the ending, but all it does is keep you chained to the past. You end up reliving the same wound, keeping it alive with your thoughts. Pain becomes familiar. It becomes something you know, something you understand. And what's familiar feels safe, even when it hurts. That's the strange part of human nature. We hold on to pain because it's predictable. We tell ourselves we're healing, but deep down, we're still feeding the same emotions that keep us stuck. You keep thinking, maybe if I think about it one more time, I'll finally get it. But you won't, because healing doesn't come from thinking about the pain. It comes from feeling it, understanding it, and then releasing it. The emotional trap works quietly. You might not even notice it at first. It shows up in the way you overthink, in the way you avoid certain places, in the way you pull away from people who try to get close. It shows up in your fears. The fear of being hurt again, the fear of trying again, the fear of trusting again, and the worst part, it convinces you that you're protecting yourself, when in reality, you're only protecting your pain. You can't heal by holding on. You can't grow by reliving what broke you. And you can't move forward while you're still fighting the battles that ended long ago. But your mind doesn't know that. Not yet. It keeps bringing those emotions back because it's trying to keep you safe. It's trying to make sense of the pain. But what it doesn't realize is that by protecting you from pain, it's also protecting you from peace. You see, there's a reason people stay in their comfort zones, even when those comfort zones are full of sadness or regret. The brain is addicted to familiarity. It wants certainty. It prefers a known pain over an unknown peace. That's why letting go feels so uncomfortable, because it means stepping into the unknown. It means facing silence after years of noise, but silence isn't empty. It's full of healing. It's full of truth. It's full of new beginnings. Letting go doesn't erase the story. It just stops it from controlling the next chapter. You can acknowledge your pain without letting it own you. You can remember what happened without reliving it every day. The emotional trap tells you that holding on gives you strength. That if you stay angry, you'll stay in control. That if you stay sad, you'll never forget. That if you stay guilty, you'll somehow make it right. But none of that is true. Anger doesn't make you stronger. It makes you tired. Sadness doesn't keep you loyal. It keeps you stuck. Guilt doesn't make you good. It makes you small. You don't owe your pain anything. You don't have to carry it to prove that it mattered. What happened to you was real, and what you felt was valid. But it's not your identity. It's not your forever. When you stop feeding the emotions that hold you back, something powerful begins to happen. The fog starts to lift. The heaviness begins to fade. You start to see the truth, that your future has no space for what your soul has already outgrown. Healing begins the moment you stop asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and start asking, "What is this trying to teach me?" Because every emotion, every heartbreak, every failure, every loss is a message. A message that says, "You've felt this long enough. It's time to rise. You are not your pain. You are not your past. You are the strength that survived it." The moment you stop identifying with the emotions that once defined you, you start to take your power back. You begin to see that what once broke you was actually shaping you, that what once made you cry is now teaching you how to stand tall. The emotional trap wants you to live in fear. But freedom begins when you look that fear in the eye and say, "I'm done. Done replaying. Done regretting. Done reliving what's already over." You don't heal by controlling your emotions. You heal by allowing them to flow through you and then letting them go. Because somewhere deep inside, beneath all the noise, there's still a part of you that wants peace. That part of you remembers what it's like to smile without guilt, to dream without fear, to wake up without the past pulling you backward. And that part, that quiet, peaceful part, is still waiting. Waiting for you to stop fighting what's gone and start living for what's possible. So when your mind drags you back into the same old pain, remember this: you've already lived that chapter. You don't need to live it again. It's time to stop looking back. Because the future can't begin until you stop staring at the door that's already closed. There comes a moment in every life, quiet, unexpected, and deeply personal, when you finally see it. You see how long you've been carrying pain that no longer belongs to you. You see how much of your energy has been spent trying to fix something that cannot be fixed. You see how your heart has been living in places your feet left long ago. It's not always dramatic. Sometimes it happens in the middle of an ordinary day. You're sitting alone thinking, and suddenly a voice inside you whispers, "Enough." Not in anger, not in exhaustion, but in truth. That single word changes everything, because that's the moment of awareness. The moment you stop running, stop replaying, stop trying to understand why things turned out the way they did. It's the moment you face yourself, honestly, without denial, without excuses. And for the first time, you realize that you've been fighting battles that ended years ago. Human psychology tells us that awareness is the beginning of transformation. You cannot heal what you refuse to see. You cannot grow from a wound you keep ignoring. The truth might hurt, but it also frees you. When you finally become aware of the emotional chains you've been dragging, you start to feel their weight for what it truly is: unnecessary. You realize that you've been living in reaction to something that no longer exists. Every thought, every fear, every hesitation, they all trace back to the past. And in that awareness, something awakens. A spark of possibility, a whisper of freedom. It's not about blaming yourself. It's about seeing yourself, seeing how much you've endured, seeing how strong you've been, seeing that your pain shaped you, but it doesn't have to define you. Awareness feels uncomfortable at first. It strips away illusions. It forces you to face truths you've buried beneath busyness and noise. You might feel guilt for holding on so long, or sadness for all the time lost. But that's okay. Every emotion that rises is a sign that you're finally facing what needs to be healed, because healing never begins in denial. It begins in recognition. It begins the moment you stop pretending that everything is fine and admit that something inside you is still hurting. That's not weakness. That's courage. True strength isn't the ability to suppress pain. It's the courage to confront it. In the moment of awareness, you begin to understand something powerful. The past is not your prison. It's your teacher. Every regret carries a lesson. Every heartbreak carries wisdom. Every loss carries truth. The moment you stop asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and start asking, "What is this teaching me?" your suffering transforms into growth. You start to see that life has never been against you. Every experience, even the painful ones, was guiding you toward understanding, toward strength, toward becoming who you were always meant to be. Pain was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to awaken you. This awareness brings stillness. It's the moment when you stop fighting your story and begin to own it. You stop wishing things had been different, and you start accepting that they were exactly what they needed to be to shape your path. You begin to see the beauty in your scars. Because every scar means one thing: you healed. You survived. You kept going when you could have given up. Awareness doesn't erase the past. It transforms your relationship with it. It helps you see that what once broke you also built you. That the pain you thought was punishment was actually preparation. The truth is, no healing happens in the dark. You have to bring your pain into the light of awareness for it to lose its power. You can't change what you don't acknowledge. When you look at your pain with open eyes, without judgment, without fear, it starts to dissolve. Because awareness removes the illusion of control, the illusion of failure, the illusion of what if. You realize that the only thing keeping you tied to your past was your attachment to the story you told about it. The moment you choose to tell a different story, one of growth, not grief, everything begins to shift. There's freedom in seeing clearly. Freedom in understanding that you don't need to carry every memory, every emotion, every mistake. You can let some of them go. Not because they don't matter, but because they've already served their purpose. You don't need to keep bleeding from old wounds to prove that they were real. You can honor your past by learning from it, by growing through it, by refusing to let it control your future. That's awareness, the bridge between pain and peace. When that awareness finally clicks inside you,